that Ron thought was so well said yesterday. I thought it was extremely premature and unwise of him to say that. It seems to me that it's that when somebody who obviously has more than one screw loose does something as insane as this and as violent and brutal, that attributing it to any kind of coherent political philosophy is a stretch, and that we do well not to go there.
But Greg, wouldn't you say that, in fact, in this era of Obama, that a lot of the things that are said about politicians, and especially in the course of the health care discussion and the shouting at the Congress, don't you think that things have become a little bit more angry in our times? Wouldn't that be fair to say? And that's why I think that there's some, well, I agree with you, have this base instinct to try and make political hay out of this.
Well, what I would say, I think people are trying to make political hay out of it, but not perhaps in the way you suggest. All of these things are beginning to hear now, pinning responsibility on right-wing radio show hosts and others. The same things that we heard back at the time of the Timothy McVeigh, the Oklahoma City bombing. We've heard all this before. We've been through this cycle before. That didn't ever really lead anywhere or establish.
You don't think there's a little bit higher in terms of the tone at this moment?
On the lunatic fringe, they're always high, and obviously we're high in this case.
Bill, what about the decision by House Republican leadership to put off the repeal vote on Wednesday as a result of this tragedy? I asked the Congresswoman about that, shifting the schedule.
Well, I guess they're just putting 12 votes in the business of the House for a week, and I suppose that's a reasonable thing. It's probably a reasonable thing to do in light of the shock of this, and the Congresswoman being critically wounded, and her staff member being killed, and I wouldn't second guess it. They'll have to get back to work. I mean, and obviously people will have to vote the way they think is right for the country, and I don't think this will end up having, honestly, much political effect. I think that's it assumes that the voters really are. And the voters have their views about what the healthcare system should be, whether we should fight the war on campus or not, and the idea that they're going to change their minds because of one terrible attack by a deranged young man on a congresswoman is not going to affect things one way or the other.
I do think it's going to make people think twice before they use certain metaphors in politics, like fascist, socialist,
right.
Nazis. I mean, I think people are going to have to think, not because this kind of rhetoric caused it, but I think it is going to have a kind of cautionary and positive effect.
Go on by the distinction. You want to call someone a fascist, that's one thing. I think that's obviously over the top. Fascism is not broad in the land. And Nazi is similarly. But if you want to argue that someone's a socialist, there are people on Capitol Hill who are declared socialists, Laura. That's nothing wrong with that.
But the kinds of things that we would defend our country using military means against. Some people would defend our country against communism, socialism, and military.
Last word quickly, Juan. Does this change how lawmakers interact with their constituents? Does security change? Does this dynamic change because of this incident?
Well, yesterday I had a conversation just by coincidence in a mall with a congressman. And she said to me, of course, that she's not going to be exposed in this way and that she wants more security. So I would imagine she's not singular in her views. I just heard your interview with the two, and both of them are talking about this as well, putting more money into security. You know what? I understand their need for security, but it's not a good thing in terms of diminishing the amount of contact. And I think Bill's shaking his head. We agree. You got to be able to talk to your congressman and say, I disagree.
We will leave it there. Panel, we have to take a break here. We will be right back.
Those fucking chips.
Oh, genie! Yourself for wish is my command. I was told and immediate stuff. But I'm making you on touch. Email, internet, 411. Oh, that was perfect.
There's no contract.
And switch to us whenever you want.
Please. How did you do that?
It's not magic. It's Net 10. And it's available at Walmart.
Net10, the cell phone you've always wished for.
This is the tale of Ozzy-U's denture paste blues theory. Yeah, until at last we found C-Bomb, a wafer that goes far beyond. Bye-bye ooze and bye-bye paste. No ooze, no blues. C-Bomb, hold happily ever after.
We now offer phone service for $1.70 a month with Magic Jack. That's just $19.95 a year. $19.95 a year. Give you free local long distance and your own phone number. Make us your new phone company or add a second line with Magic Jack. We now offer phone service for $1.70 a month with MagicJet. That's just $19.95 a year. $19.95 a year. We give you free local and long distance and your own phone number. How much could you save every month?
$400.
I'd say $40 to $50 a month.
About $40.
About $50 a month.
You could save $500 to $1,000 a year. That's why over 6 million people have already made the switch to MagicJet. Start your savings today. Get MagicJet at Target.
Most people spend their 20s figuring out who they are.
I don't drink laundry. Since when?
These three roommates just want to figure out what they are.
Are you a werewolf? Gross. It's in my hair.
Being Human, an original series, premieres Monday, January 17th at 9, only on Sci-Fi. Imagine Rare.
These are some of the words that local employers are using to describe the response they got from their Help Wanted ads on SantaBarbaraJobs.net. When it's time to hire a new employee, no matter what type of job opening you have, then you need to know about Santa Barbara Jobs because it saves employers time, saves money, and delivers great response to quality applicants. If you need to hire now, place your job ads on SantaBarbaraJobs.net.
It's free for job seekers and great for business.
True or false? Your pet is safe from fleas, ticks, and heartworms in winter. Sorry, it's false. And these guys can mean big trouble. Your pets need year-round protection, plus medications for cold weather joint pain. Fortunately, they cost a lot less at 1-800-PET-MEDS, and they're delivered free, right to your door with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. For fast service, free shipping, and big savings, call now or order online from 1-800-PET-MEDS, America's largest pet pharmacy.
Attention drivers, has your manufacturer's warranty expired or is it about to expire? How will you pay the hundreds, even thousands of dollars needed to get your car back on the road? Quick Cash 123 is here to help you with your financial needs. If your vehicle is less than 15 years old and has less than 200,000 miles on it, then we may still be able to offer you repair protection. Call now and we will connect you with one of our preferred extended protection providers. You choose the coverage and we will tailor a plan to fit your budget.
There's no obligation. Call 888-390-4278 now. How they doing?
Well, the Republicans, it seemed to me, got off to a reasonably good start. John Boehner gave a humble talk and managed to hold the tears back at least while he was talking, so his reputation as the most lachrymose senior official we've had in a long time may have diminished just a bit. He managed to speak for a briefer period of time than Nancy Pelosi did. She still seemed a little self-absorbed, but she was gracious to her hand. And most of what happened this week was ceremonial. I would say that it was very instructive to watch the reactions to the practice introduced now of reading the Constitution in its entirety in some quarters. It was an illuminating moment. You had some in the media referring to One Time magazine writer talked about the Republicans' fetish with the Constitution. I wonder if the writer had noticed that when these men and women take their oath, they take an oath not to the country, not to the Congress, not to the constituents, but to uphold and defend the Constitution. So its reading does not strike me as inappropriate, and I suspect most of America feels the same way.
Well, we already talked about the delay because of the tragedy in Arizona. They're pushing back this healthcare repeal vote, but it is just that, a delay. They'll still do it. And then they have a series of spending cuts provisions that will likely be unveiled in the coming days.
I think that, I agree they were up to a fairly good start. There were some glitches. 2 guys who didn't show up for the oath of office. Big lavish fundraisers that seem to strike some people in the Tea Party in particular as wrong and ill-advised. Plus, now they've got 2 big substantive problems. They've got to find that $100 billion in spending cuts, as you mentioned, which is going to be harder than they thought, and they're already talking about scaling that number back. And then the repeal of health care, which I think is going to go forward, even if it's delayed by a week or 2. And the problem with that is it seems like they want to rush it through, get it over with, and then send it into oblivion in the Senate. There are no hearings. They haven't come up with the replacement bill. They've always promised to repeal and replace. We don't know what they would replace it with. And it almost seemed like they wanted to kind of very quickly and perfunctorily tick off the box on a campaign promise they made, in particular to their Tea Party constituents. I think if they're serious, they've got to go through the whole process of replacing the bill with something and showing what they're actually for.
Bill, perhaps the biggest news of the week was the shift at the White House, with Bill Daley, former Commerce Secretary from the Clinton administration, being announced as the new chief of staff, and that brought some howling from the left.
That was good to see. Yeah, I first met Bill Daley when he brought to Washington from Chicago by Bill Clinton at the end of 1993. Remember this as a kind of special aid to shepherd the NAFTA agreement, the North American Free Trade Agreement, through the Congress, which he did with, I think, a majority of Republican votes. I think most Democrats were against it. And I was running a little Republican organization at the time, and I was for NAFTA and met Bill Daley then. So as President Obama's chief of staff, he wants to shepherd a lot more free trade and pro-business measures through Congress. I'm for it. Gene Sperling also has now become the senior economic advisor. He's a moderate Democrat, another Clinton administration veteran. Everyone I know in Washington who ever worked in the Clinton administration is sitting by their phone Friday, very deeply wounded that they weren't. Where was my phone call? You know,
It's still right.
It's very exactly. It is. So that's depressing for the ones who weren't called. But I Bill Daley was Secretary of Commerce for the second term, and I know for a fact that he's already talked to a lot of business leaders and said, if we want jobs, we want to get this economy going, what can we do? We've been told by a lot of them, taxes are kind of messed up for the next couple of years. Everyone wants to reduce spending. We'll see what happens on that. Regulations. I'd say the one test of whether he's really making a difference there is whether he reins in these agencies, especially the Environmental Protection Agency, which are keeping huge burdens on businesses.
How much does this tell us, Juan, about the administration, about this president and his reelection?
I think it says a lot, and I think that's the cause of all the ire on the left, is that the thought is that he is making friends with Wall Street in particular in order to bulk up his reelection treasure. And that those are folks that he feels are necessary to reassure, even as we're in a situation where much of America, and certainly the left, remains in frustration with the behavior of Wall Street, with the fact that these big corporations are sitting on trillions of dollars in terms of capital, not investing in jobs and in the American economy. Why make friends and play footsie with big business? But Bill Daley is big business. I mean, that's why the Chamber of Commerce, which had been after the Obama administration on so many fronts, is hailing Bill Daley. That's why, it's a surprise that all of a sudden, you see people on the right and the Congress, they say, oh, we love Bill Daley. It's people who have been at Obama's base who are like, what's going on here? Why all of a sudden? But it's obvious it has to do with campaign.
It's the saying in Washington, personnel is policy. And in some cases, that's the truth. It remains very much to be seen, however, whether that will prove true in this case, whether it was the advent of Daley and Gene Sperling and others perhaps will herald a seriously different policy direction. My sense is it probably will on some counts. I expect the president to fight till the last dog dies, as Bill Clinton used to say, to protect the health care reform bill, which is a major part of contention. But I do think that on trade, possibly on tax reform, perhaps on other issues, including perhaps a gentler regulatory hand might be heralded here. If that would be the case, I think it would do two things. One, it would calm some of the fevers on Capitol Hill, and I think it would help the president's reelection effort.
That is it for the panel. Thank you all. When we come back, a final word on Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords.
The only thing better than seafood is enjoying it together. And right now, a complete seafood dinner for two is just $29.99 at Red Lobster. You both get a fresh salad and irresistible cheddar baked biscuits. 2 entrees from a menu of classic favorites and new creations. And your choice of either an appetizer or a dessert to share. Your favorite seafood with your favorite person. Just $29.99 for limited time at Red Lobster.
Nationwide Insurance, I'm all ears.
I bought my policy online, and I haven't heard from the company since.
When Pam switches to Nationwide Insurance, we're not going to treat her like Policy 413. We're going to treat her like Pam. Get to know her, be proactive. Oh, and rename the company Nation Pam.
Oh.
Done. Nation Pam is all yours. Sam, we'll make that work.
So, I've been thinking about doing more cookies and cream cupcakes.
Oh, well, let's see what the data says. Looks promising.
Great.
Wouldn't it be nice to have a back office for your small business? With Intuit QuickBooks, you do. Make sense of your numbers and know where your business stands.
We do the legwork so you can do what you love. Intuit, small business, rejoice.